Testing. Testing. All right. Is this thing on? All right. Am I streaming to the interwebs now? I think I've got a strong signal ready to cast some crazy esoteric internet knowledge forum, archive or scrounged up from the deep forums of the internet, or just Wikipedia hopping as we usually do. But yes, welcome everyone. We got in the Apocalypsis Historia live tonight, live stream, live lecture as I try to do a one breath take on John Dee and a bunch of stuff that I've compiled together as we do around this channel. So if you're interested in learning about John Dee, this enigmatic figure, and not just, a basic biography, because there's a lot to go through. We'll try to summarize it and have a crash course, but I've also got a bunch of things that he's kind of connected to in the modern world as well. Maybe you're even watching something right now that he potentially, had a hand in bringing forth. So that's all something to consider tonight. But before we get started, make sure you check all the links down below in the description box. I've got all my Substack essays that you can kind of preview in case I make videos before. I talk a lot about philosophy and literature and Shakespeare and a bunch of other random stuff. And so, yeah, if you're interested in anything we do around the channel, make sure you go check that stuff out too. I've also got a Patreon where we are currently doing a book club, and this is a big list of the stuff we've read, for the 2025 actually. Going through Shakespeare plays, almost doing usually an act or two a week. And we have a pretty, in-depth discussion every single week. My co-host Chance and another ace up her sleeve, Dave Richardson, who is a big Mary Sydney guy. Go check out my video or two before my regular videos. We do a interview with him, so yeah, go check him out. He's a reoccurring table member at the book club. So yeah, if you're interested in going through Shakespeare and not just going through a bare bones reading, because we're going to talk a lot about the philosophy. They're going to go into the weeds about potential authors, potential sources for the plays, and who could have written what, and why allusions to this would mean that, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's a hell of a time as we go through all the Shakespeare. And so yeah, it's a blast. And yeah, as you can see, it's quite a stack. But like I said, an act or two a week. It's not super studious, I would say, and I think we have a pretty good time. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you go check out the links down below. Now, you can also see I got my handy, I don't know if my camera will focus on it, but I got a new mug at the Ren Fair, so it's keeping my water cold. All right, so what are we talking about? I'm a Shakespeare channel, but I also have several videos on John Dee, and I feel like he's still a character that I'll never fully quite understand. I'll whip up the channel here because it, as we were doing it live, I've got several videos. So it's, one of my, one of our 4-hour long videos. What's this one? Yeah, where Philip Sidney and John Dee. That's a 4-hour long video there, and basically, kind of John Dee is kind of why I'm even into this scene. Almost my Shakespeare authorship question scene. And yeah, because the candidate that I was interested in, I kind of knew that he wasn't like writing it, but I was definitely interested in finding out if other people were connected to him. And Francis Bacon is a common candidate for Shakespeare. But what did I get hooked onto? Where am I getting ahead of myself? Yeah, let's go back to John Dee first. And so, who is he? But otherwise, you can go check out a bunch of different videos. I've got interviews people that are literal scholars, like John Michael Greer and Michael Martin, and people that have literally written scholarly papers on these guys, and they've all got different takes. On this person. Some people think that like Michael, he's like, yeah, he's an honest guy. It seems like he was doing his best, and maybe was up to some bad ideas towards the end of his life. And then we got John Michael Greer, who's like, yeah, dude, this dude definitely knew his magic, and I'm not sure if he really, I don't know what his judgment is. Probably the same as Michael is like, yeah, he's probably getting up, doing something he wasn't supposed to, or or maybe he maybe I don't speak for John and all, but yeah, I'm pretty sure his answer's out there somewhere. But anyways, but other people are definitely like, oh no, he's he's icky, spooky from the get go and all that sort of stuff, and there was never anything Christian about him or yada yada, because John Dee will assert that he was a Christian despite his sort of association with being like a magician and sorcerer and stuff and all that stuff. So I got the I got a billion tabs open here, so yeah, if we're ready to go, I got the basic entry on John Dee here, as you can kind of tell by the thumbnail. He was an English mathematician, astronomer, teacher, astrologer, occultist, and alchemist. He's mostly known for being a court astronomer for an advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. And, his big claim to fame there is that she kind of asked him to, like, horoscope or chart out or whatever through astrology what day to have her coronation day, what would be the most successful day, and I think what he picked, like, January 15th is what it is, and, maybe that it could attest for itself, right, because she did live for a heck of a long time, and, the Elizabethan age just, got its own sort of adjective now, right? It's got its own sort of identity. And also spent much time on alchemy, divination, and hermetic philosophy, antiquarian as well. He's also, of note, is Welsh. He's from Wales. So that might be a relevant recurring theme I might touch on here a lot. And so, yeah, and I don't think it's something, I don't think this is someone that I would have known in high school. Maybe if you do a cursory search of, John Dee and the internet and the like, yeah, you might get a mixed bag. Anywhere from like, he was a pretty smart guy to maybe somewhat of a charlatan or something like that. But yeah, I tend to think that, he's pretty much known for being like the smartest dude in England, for his time period, and had like the most extensive library and was known for collecting lots of books. And so he was just like a great resource for a lot of people there on the island, the island in the country. And, especially he was very connected to people like Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, who is pretty much, the Queen Elizabeth's favorite for quite a long time, and they have a tumultuous relationship as well. It's a very interesting power situation if you look on it from that basic history level, or surface level history, let alone meta conspiracies, which will I'm just not going to go down here today. But so he's super connected to a lot of he's connected to pretty much the most powerful people in England as well, and. I'd always known him in that sense because, he's also got a bunch of stuff to do with pop culture. Okay, and so that's where we're gonna go down here eventually. But yeah, he's written for all these crazy alchemical texts like this one, the Monas Hieroglyphica, and the what was the other one that if you look at our interview with John Michael Greer, the first and second one, like the Propedeutica Astrologica or something, I forget. A lot of Greek title names and the whatnot, and we even get a someone's adding we get a Philip Sidney mention here. Here we go. We're just going through Wikipedia. If you look at my other videos in the past, we've done all the scholarly articles. Those are the videos that are like 4 hours long, so I'm just kind of doing a quick summary here for people that need to be caught up to speed here. Because that way I can sort of lay out, the train tracks of like where I'm going to take this sort of thing or whatever. Yeah, thanks for hopping aboard tonight. John Dee is it's crazy how connected he is to this whole scene, and that's what once again at the top of the stream I was sort of saying, that's why this person alone kind of got me into the Shakespeare questioning scene. In a sense, but that's why I kind of kept my eyes up for candidates at some point, and that's why Chance sort of, with his sort of Philip Sidney angle, sort of really opened the door for me for a lot of that stuff. But I'm getting ahead of myself as we go through this. But yeah, so he was, he's, I'm kind of talking a lot more about his spookiness part, alchemical text and Monas Hieroglyphica and making glyphs and stuff and all that sort of stuff, right? But once again, very resourceful person. And when I think about when they say he was like a mathematician, astronomer, and that sort of stuff, and that's this is just before Bacon's on the scene, and some people I know some people in the comments are gonna say that Bacon is Dee and all that sort of stuff too. And, we can take it or leave it there for a lot of that stuff. So I'm just analyzing the surface level history as we kind of go through this stuff. And, y'all can connect it as we go through this and see if a lot more of this stuff is clicking for you too. But we got, this idea of, at least this person in the court, this super scientist person, okay? And when we're talking about this time period of, British Navy, British Empire, which he's kind of known for coining. He's known for coining it, but as we pointed out in the stream, there's another Welsh guy, Humphrey Lude, that dedicated the history of Wales to Philip Sidney, that actually kind of coined a very similar term, like Empire of Britain rather than British Empire or something, right? But him and Dee and Humphrey Lude are good buddies or whatever, right? But so we have this idea of this John Dee, super scientist person in the court, and on the emergence of this, British Navy. And, this is, around the same time period that, Spain's also kicking butt, but also about to get their butt kicked by England, and the, Spanish Armada is going to get defeated by Francis Drake, and, all that sort of stuff. And the way that, the British Empire is going to be such a naval-based power, right? And why astronomy, maybe just in hindsight, because, we're used to planes and we're used to sort of GPS and blah, blah, blah in the 21st century. But we've got this, person who, it's like, we're spoiled here. I'm sitting in a comfy air-conditioned place, right? I've never, been on a boat in the middle of the freaking ocean before. In the middle of the pitch black dark, trying to, navigate by stars and stuff like that, right? And how important it is to be able to accurately pinpoint where you are. And imagine if you're playing the board game like Battleship or something, right, where you're trying to navigate waters and guess where people are when you're firing stuff. But just imagine if you were just that much better at navigating where you were or something, right? What if your side, if you pick the British Navy, your little characters, you just got extra vision, you just got free spots to view stuff or whatever, I don't know, just you get just some crazy perk that gives you a clear advantage over the other player. You get to see where they are every other turn for a quick second or something, right? But yeah, just imagine something along those lines about why astronomy is such a crazy tool in this age, and why these crazy scientist guys are the sort of I don't know, call him a mad scientist, but mad sorcerer, scientist, astronomer person or something, right? Some weird mix of it all. And once again, it's just having the equipment, and they're designing all. He was known for helping design scientific instruments or whatever to accomplish a lot of these feats, or lay the groundwork and blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna go down every single little achievement, but just just painting the picture of this influence of this person, right? This not just the the spooky alchemical stuff, which I'll relate to in a second. But not just he's not just for alchemical spooky. Monad hieroglyphica, talking about metaphysical who knows what's it, but also just in a practical sense, astronomy and stuff, and pinpointing for attacking ships, that's pretty practical, and that makes a lot of sense in this geopolitical game too, right? And now you see this sort of web of the influence of trade and trade networks opening up across the world, and trout fisheries opening up there, and got to get the Spain out of there, and blah 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 blah, right? You just kind of see this giant interweb of influence, and dominoes knocking into one another, and all that sort of stuff, right? And all those metaphors and whatnot. Polymathists are really this dude did a lot of stuff, right? So letting all still all that aside, look at all the stuff that I just named. But the thing that I'm also going to mention here is that part of his story, known for being very successful, doing all this sort of stuff, and towards the end of his life, he was kind of in a scandal where he was working with another dude named, what was his name, Edward Kelly, and they were kind of doing a bunch of scrying, and they would get these black mirrors, and they were trying to contact angels, and I think there's something to the source, and if I was doing it proper, I would have researched that whole rabbit hole itself and talk about even just the source from where that comes from, because I think that there's something just kind of odd about it all. So Dee and Edward Kelly do a bunch of contacting angels, and basically they get scammed, or they wife swap for whatever reason because of the angel tells them to, and then their relationship deteriorates, and then he loses a bunch of money, and he dies broke, and the rest is, and that's the end of his life, and it's a big tragedy. And you know, maybe on the surface level, yeah, you just kind of think of as like, tragic figure kind of guy who was, kind of renowned and important at one point, but then, maybe kind of lost it all. And it's like a hubris or folly tale or of some sort, right? But, and aside to all that stuff, when he was doing all this talking angels or whatever, he's known for coming up with this, oh yeah, I forgot about Trismegistus Stenographia. That's a Baconian thing too. Shout out to my boy Lenny we were talking about Trismegistus the other day. And so here we go. We're going through going down. What was I going to go through? Oh yeah, and we were talking about. Oh yeah, here we go. He's known for making up what's called the Enochian language. Yeah, I must have missed it. I'm just scrolling through Wikipedia, but I did not really rehearse this before I got on it. But that's what I have the browsers open up, ready to go. So Enochian magic and Enochian language, okay? And it was like, yeah, this idea of like, oh, if you want to like unite the world, we got to figure out the pre-Adamite language. We got to figure out the language that everyone was speaking before Babel or whatever. So that way, everyone can communicate better. We can understand each other better, yada, yada, yada. If you watch our interview with Marco Martin, that's when Martin's like, well, yeah, you know how Babel ended, right? That ended poorly for them when they tried to do that, and that's why the languages are where they are and that sort of thing, right? But so yeah, that's why this concept of like, oh yeah, let's make up this universal language or this angelic language, right? And so yeah, Enochian language is essentially what it's named after. I need to see if did he even call it that himself, or is that something that's like mentioned afterwards? That's yeah. See, I should have known. It'd be nice to know if he even called it that or not. I think he did. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote Wikipedia on that either, for the most part. Oh, yeah, I guess he... Yeah, okay. Well, once again, don't quote Wikipedia, but it comes from his assertion that the biblical patriarch Enoch had been the last human to know the language. And so, who is Enoch? He's mentioned... He's mentioned in the Bible. I think he's mentioned. He's definitely mentioned because he's the guy who's lifted up into heaven, and it's a sort of like prophetic sort of representation of Christ, right? Because how he's just risen up and he doesn't like die, he just like rises up or whatever. But it comes from like the maybe now internet famous Book of Watchers and that sort of stuff, right? Where it's talking about the Nephilim and the sort of in between story of Genesis and the flood or whatever, right? Where it talks about why. Or what happened exactly when the angels kind of came down and did all this stuff, and a crazy awesome story. I don't think I have too much reason to kind of go into in here, but yeah, I'm just kind of showing you why it's called Enochian, and this is its own sort of fascinating thing in of itself. But yeah. Oh, I got some chats over here. Oh, hey man, hey Frater, how's it going, dude? Frater RC, welcome. Sent a super chat. Oh, thanks so much, man. So sorry for not replying yet to your last email. No problems, man. It's too much on my plate, but let's catch up over the holidays or New Year. What you guys doing? That's really wonderful. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, would love to have your expertise on here as well. Okay. You called it celestial or atomic or Edenic. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, that's very good to know. But yeah, still talking about the Adamite language. But yeah, that's good. I wonder who decided to. What is that, like some Aleister Crowley naming it Enochian or something like that? I wonder, that's a interesting anachronism there if it gets named it differently. Very interesting. But in common times, once again, what's the entry for this? Maybe they do have entry for celestial or something like that. But when we talk about John Dee specifically and his celestial language, right? We don't really refer to him as celestial or atomic. We call it Enochian, right? And it's got some letter looking stuff. Maybe it's based on some other. I've seen, for instance, like the kind of reminds me of like the Jimmy Page Zoso symbol, right? But it's sort of just like lifted off of some alchemical or astrological text for Saturn or something like that, right? But yeah, just some like little part of it snipped off or something. Well, yeah, this just looks like Omega, of course. This looks a little Nike, I guess. I wonder if as far as little symbols go, I guess I haven't really diverged and gone into intelligentsia, right? But as far as also, with language, another thing that Dee, and of course, give shout out to Bacon and, probably a lot of these people that are involved with this, but is, using cryptology, right? Being able to, hide messages and letters and carry messages and that sort of stuff, right? And cryptography. Not cryptology. It's like the study of or that's cryptozoology, right? Cryptography, whatever. Being able to do a bunch of word games and essentially involved with like spying. Essentially making codes within messages, right? Think of just as if it's like the Enigma code in World War II and that sort of thing, right? And being able to privately, successfully send messages and information to other people, right? So you need someone who's able to do that really well, right? So boom, you got a D who's also able to do that well. And so it kind of makes sense how he's, playing with these other Enochian language games, right? Yo, Titus, my man, how's it going? Check out Orphanic Revelation, a book which looks at the letters as cones following Dee's Monez theories. You have the same birthday as John Dee. Dude, I was literally... Man, synchronicity, great stuff there, dude. Yeah, I was literally gonna... when I was looking at his... very at the top of the stream, I was like, oh, look, his birthday is July 13th. My birthday's... not my birthday. My brother's birthday is like a week before that, right? He's July 2nd. But I was like, oh, I wonder if anyone, in the stream tonight is going to have John Dee's birthday. I was even going to give a shout out. Like, oh, shout out if you got John Dee's birthday, July 13th. Right on, dude. Now you got to report any weird dreams you have or report any, angelic communications you get, okay? Don't report it if it's too spooky, though, if you have too many paranormal activities, you keep that to yourself, all right? And you don't say I did that to you. Jokes aside, but yeah, John Dee, involved with cryptography and, spying and all that sort of stuff. And, maybe that's part of his network that he was doing, traveling around Europe and doing all that sort of stuff too, is this sort of spy business or whatever. But he was known for apparently signing his name with like 2 zeros and like a 7, right? So it's almost like the 007. I had a weird infographic where they related it to the 2 balls and Cain, or 2 balls and a 7 symbol, which is like a Freemason symbol, and like that's a whole thing we could maybe try to figure out if that's true or not. And Tubal Cain, and so it's like a reference to Tubal Cain, and then it's a whole another thing to go down. But nonetheless, John Dee is associated with the numbers 007, right? And so that brings up James Bond, who is associated with MI6, obviously, and associated with intelligentsia and the like. Even his creator was involved with it. What's the guy's name? Lethal Logic is real. I keep thinking of the guy that James Bond is based on, which is his name is Sidney as well. What's his name? I'm missing his name too. Sidney something. I can't remember any of these guys' names, but that's how it goes. Yeah, I read that stuff a while ago. But John Dee, intelligentsia, spying connection. Okay, the 007 connection. So people say it's debunked. Some people just say it's not. The from this little signature things I saw, I was like, okay, I definitely see the 007 thing, and then I saw someone else do the Tubal Cain thing. But yeah, I'll show you that here in a little bit. We got Enochian here. It's called Enochian these days, but regardless, this is the script itself, okay? And the way I got into Shakespeare authorship theory is that I'd heard about Dee, and he's kind of in conspiracy circles because once again you're on maybe a black screen right now, essentially, before you have any stuff, or before it's even turned on or whatever, right? That, I'll show you here before it lights up or whatever, right? But you have a black screen here. Oh, I got my thumb over here. But you have a black screen, and that's essentially what he was using to do his scrying, right? That they had these polished obsidian mirrors that they apparently obtained from Mexico is what I remember reading or hearing. And yeah, you do this sort of like staring and like trip yourself out or something, I guess, is essentially how you do it. You can do this sort of same stuff with like staring at fire or staring at, not regular mirrors, but other like inanimate objects or subtly moving objects. But yeah, I have this, I need to pull it up, but the idea of that, so yeah, we got these black mirrors here, and he was using Enochian language, maybe writing it down and sort of using them as sigils in a sense, but you may have seen that sigils looking like microchips, sort of layouts and this sort of stuff, right? Microchips, sigils, and the idea, there's this sort of meme about, demons are just, or microchips and computers are just like trapped demons in silicon or whatever. Dude, are they scrubbing this meme from the planet? From us? Here. Yeah, so you got, microchips over here or whatever, right? And then here's these are just, other grimoire or whatever, right? Alchemical, occult symbols or whatever. But yeah, just the concept that these sort of like little nodal things. And I also like the idea of processors looking like temple layouts too. If you kind of look at Athens from above and that sort of idea, they kind of trip me out with the way they look like all the pillars close together, and they'll kind of look like those little stacked little CPU things that they got in microchips or whatever. Let's see if they got any of these other ones over here. Man, this is like the worst Google search I've ever seen. Yeah, there's like nothing here. Might not be what you're looking for. Pfft, give me that. I mean, yeah, y'all really did a poor job here. Man, yeah, I should have loaded this before because, yeah, there's better. I don't really want to go to X either. But man, I've seen some better compilations of this concept of, yeah, sigils as chips inside black mirrors, right? So now, yeah, are we doing the exact same thing that John Dee was doing? And that's kind of what Michael Martin, if you go look at our interview with Michael Martin and then go look at his video if you want on Edward Bernays, the book's way over there. Go look at Edward Bernays and the idea of propaganda and, compelling stuff, right? At least in my mind, I don't mind some spookiness, I don't mind a little bit of technology and also and magic at the same time because, everything's on the table, right? In this day and age. All right. Oh, I missed some more messages over here. All right. Bryn Bears. We should chat one day about what Sydney and Dee were up to. Yeah, I definitely want to know what Dee and Sydney were up to. I have a bunch of fantastical images I've cast before in the past about, because in this book, Francis Yates, Theater of the World. I'm trying not to knock a bunch of stuff off, but I have to show off the book, right? That's why I bought the books. But yeah, in this book, Theater of the World, it just kind of talked about Dee's awesome, amazing library and how expansive it is and everything. And, she even kind of says it, one can imagine a young Philip Sidney being able to stroll, the shelves of books and have access to, original Greek copies of blah, 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 and original Latin copies or blah, 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 yada, yada. And it's like, yes, like, that's like, to me, that's like what Shakespeare would have wanted, right? Just to have like the real raw Greek and be able to play with the words and do all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's me being highly speculative or whatever, right? I mean, I can already just say for Sydney's own talent, right? I think I did it in the, maybe I did it in the live stream for the 1K stream about Ashen Mana, where I talked about Sydney being able to make up the name Pamela, where it's just the name like Pan and Mela or Melly put together, all sweet. But yeah, so I like his idea of being able to play with words, play with language or whatever, right? I just named a bunch of D's, big titles were a bunch of like Greek names or whatever, right? But yeah, I'll get to that to myself. I'm still building up to like why Dee's even interested in Shakespeare itself or whatever, right? But yeah, I'll finish these chats real quick. Fratter. Oh man, thanks again. Ian Fleming, thank you. Friend said Dee was like the OG 007, but Dee never used that number. We have had that debunked to our chagrin. Oh no. No, Dee used a shoe stone or crystal, but not the black mirror. Zoso is also from the Almaty. Yeah, the Zoso, I think, from Armado. Okay. Yeah, man, he's coming in here with the good footnotes in here. So everyone check my errata down here as he fixes my stream live here for us. But yeah, building the at least once again, it's this still weird ambience that Dee has found himself in this modernity about this weird, strange occult angle he's sort of found himself in or whatever, right? But yeah, I sort of likened it to modern technology potentially being modern conceptions of this occult magic all sort of lumped together, but channeled with electricity or something, right? So yeah, that's the microchips and all that sort of stuff. But let's see, when we're talking about Dee and the other stuff, the way I got hooked on it is there is a gentleman named Alan Green. I'll go to Alan Green's channel here. He's got a channel on YouTube called Bardcode, I want to say, and that's what I used to watch over 10 years ago or whatever. And he had a channel that was all about weird hidden codes in Shakespeare, the Shakespeare sonnets, and kind of analyzing, kind of like maybe Alexander Waugh did some of that stuff too, but Green was going through it and looking for punctuations and triangles and blah 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 blah, but then also looking at the number of words in the sonnets and the number of for instance, I forget, and maybe this is totally, I don't know if this is debunked or not, but it was like the number of times the word speed appears and then times the number of light appears, like somehow calculates to the ratio or to the number of the speed of light or some crazy stuff. And there's a number of mentions of the word moon, there's another mention of the word sun, and distance or something, and it somehow, if you take those mentions, the number of times the words are mentioned and do some, I don't know, mathematical gymnastics, and you can get like the ratio to the sun and the moon or whatever, right? And I don't really know. I'm not a mathematician. I didn't really think about it too hard over 10 years ago, so I'm not gonna fully back it up or anything, but I was at the time I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Like, what the heck is this, right? Y'all can all go through and double check Alan Green's work for me anyway. But yeah, well, he was he was really fit. When I first got into him, he was really big on like John Dee as maybe not the writer, because I don't think he was even really sold on it being the writer, but definitely somehow involved with the project or whatever, right? I think Alan Green would know maybe a thing about it too, about being a front man, because Alan Green was the front man for the Monkees. He like wrote their songs or played their songs or something, right? For Davy Jones specifically. And so yeah, people didn't know that Davy Jones didn't actually sing and play, but it was actually Alan Green doing that stuff. And so yeah, he would maybe know a thing or two at actually, stepping in for somebody else in the spotlight, right? But yeah, so he was big on John Dee for the longest time. Now he's like doing America codes. I don't know what the heck that's about. What is he wearing? Good for him, I guess. But yeah, the old stuff or whatever. So yeah, John Dee was his main candidate a long time ago, and I thought it was pretty fascinating, but didn't know where to do it. And Bacon, he's a pretty popular one. Eventually, I'll come to learn about DeVere and all that sort of stuff too. But yeah, people, I don't know. DeVere was never quite as close to Dee. Frank Bacon and Dee. I know you Baconians are like, they're the same people, but on paper, as far as regular, folks trying to piece them together, it's not so easy getting Bacon and Dee in the same room all the time, right? Shout out to everyone here. Go to the Higher Side chats and like blow him up on Twitter or YouTube or something, right? And try to get his attention, because I want to get on his podcast and like bring our sort of general Shakespeare pitch and do the group theory pitch and show him like, it's maybe, let's not just look at Bacon or just DeVere. Like, look at this cat, look at this Henslow diary, look at this Handy thing, look at some of this other stuff, right? Look at Mary Sidney. Look who the folio was dedicated to. Look at all the little different pieces, and not just like I've replaced this candidate with a new candidate, right? And so once again, I'm trying to hype myself. I could talk to him about we could talk about the weird Shakespeare stuff. I could talk about the weird Joe Rogan stuff, but and Fertitta stuff, but we'll leave that for another day. But yeah, go blow him up so we can talk to him about Shakespeare or whatever, right? He actually had Alan Green on some time ago, and so yeah, that was also another way that I found Alan Green. He was on the Higher Side Chats. Pretty good, pretty fun conversation. But yeah, hard to get some of these guys really close to John Dee, and it wasn't until Chance kind of got really into it, and he started to be like, "Yo, dude, have you read this like Philip Sidney guy before?" And I was like, "Who the heck is Philip Sidney?" And boom, kind of got interested in Sidney. Yeah, he died early, but as we looked into more and more of his biography, that's when we found out via this 4-hour long 4-hour long video that we did on him. Where the heck is it? The Magus and the here we go, Magus and the Muse. Oh wow, that was over 2 years ago. Wow, it's been that long. So yeah, our 4-hour long John Dee and Philip Sidney podcast, right? We figured out that Philip Sidney was like a personal student of John Dee and his like most lauded one. And I'd read a random biography or a random thing, and it'd name a couple of his students, like Edward Dyer and some other dude, and it's by far his most shining student, Philip Sidney. And it's just like, why are people? Every single person just has had this little extra flourish on when they had Philip Sidney in there or whatever, right? And so yeah, I've sort of likened it before that to me, Philip Sidney is a sort of like a young King Arthur or whatever, right? And John Dee is the sort of crazy old Merlin or something, right? I kind of get those vibes, Chance sold me on Philip Sidney, and then I finally got John Dee into the picture, and it's like, oh wow, that's like super crazy. Oh wow, John Dee's like actually here, because I just wanted John Dee to be like a consultant, and I just wanted to be able to consult, right? I was like, I'm not sure if he's writing this stuff. I just think he's consulting it, right? Boom, we got him in. We kind of got him into the Lester circle. We've already we could talk about Lester and Dee and Elizabeth and this whole crazy web and all these different people that they're associated with. I would just go watch all that stuff because we already kind of talk about that here. But yeah, that's essentially how I had kind of brought all those two worlds together in a sense, and and then we've got, then we kept asking more questions, and that's why we asked John Michael Greer. That's why we got opinions, from Michael Martin, John Michael Greer, and then we found out that, I said at the top of the thing, right, that John Dee is known for his divination, his predictions, and he kind of predicted a successful Queen Elizabeth reign, right? She was like, what's the best coronation day, so the best reign? And he's like, yeah, this day. One other thing that he did find, or I'm sorry, that he did predict via a nativity horoscope for Philip Sidney was like an eerily close to predicted death date, per the exact manner too, where it was going to be like a wound, but then also like of a sickness at the same time because he died of gangrene. And so yeah, it was just a really crazy find, and so I went and bought from Oxford the actual Latin scan that I can't read. It looks like we're gonna have some help trying to figure out if there's any other extra juice in this thing or whatever. So stick around for that one day. I'm trying to get JMG and see if there's any update on that sort of stuff or whatever. So yeah, stay tuned. But yeah, the Philip Sidney Leicester Circle, Henslow, Mary Sidney Pembroke Circle. Man, what a crazy circle. What a crazy concentric circle. Circles within circles. All right. Check out some chat here in case I haven't looked over here. Yeah, I would love to know what Dee would think of his fame today. He'd probably be a little. I don't know. I think he'd be like, because there's a wide opinion. He can take his pick. There's a rapper. Y'all can remind me about the rapper or not. There's like some. I don't like this like really grungy, creepy rap. Like the Travis Scott rap, right? I went to high school with Travis Scott. I could have a video on Travis Scott one day too. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that kind of vibe either. But yeah, I found this like British rapper, and he has a song named John Dee, and it's just like it makes me feel icky. Have you ever read Triumphal Forms by Alistair Fowler. No, I haven't. Lots of numerology in Elizabethan poetry. Oh, yeah, okay. Triumphal Forms. What is that about? Or what is that about? Alistair Fowler. Is that like a contemporary, or is that like an old thing? Titus, let me know. How would you relate it to the Dee stuff? I'm new to your channel. Are you into John Milton or William Blake as well? I have not read them formally, but we are all about them. Yes, I'm going to eventually go through all the Blake stuff and John Milton stuff, and anybody that's ever referenced Shakespeare. Any time a random pop culture thing decides to reference Shakespeare, Taylor Swift, 3 Shakespeare references, right? Well, we can figure. I'm like, yo, Shakespeare still has cultural currency, right? That's why Taylor Swift is her #1 song right now. It still has the name Ophelia in it, right? Just as a bunch of her other 2 famous songs also have a Shakespeare reference. So Shakespeare is just popular still. Like you might be like, oh yeah, well, none of us here maybe on the channel would deride Shakespeare, but yeah, some people are like, oh yeah, old fogey Shakespeare or whatever, right? But yeah, still popular songs are still having those names repeated over and over again. So take it for what you will. Yeah, I would really like. I love looking at Blake paintings, for sure. That stuff's trippy. All right. So yeah, kind of connecting Shakespeare. I'm sorry, John Dee to our Shakespeare scene, showing you how Dee connects to kind of a conspiracy scene in a soft sense and in a general sense, and people once again have their different opinions on him. All right, so let's look at what I have in store. There's a bunch of different things to go with this Enochian thing, okay? Because it's just like kind of all over the place about where it sort of finds itself. So I guess we'll just start with one of the more recent ones, and there was a video by Zorse, and I had seen it a year ago. This is the year ago one. Great video. Pretty much everyone copied this dude. This is the oldest one. Go check this guy's video out. And he goes the occult origins of Nosferatu. And this is before I knew Robert Eggers was going to do a new one. This is before I knew Robert Eggers was going to do the new Nosferatu or whatever. Yeah, this is almost like 2 years ago now, actually. And it... Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just, I was just like killing time. I watched the video. But in it, so he's talking about the original Nosferatu. Yeah, so this is even before the other one was announced, or, it had been in production, but I had no idea he was doing it. And I love the Northman. But, yeah, there's a bunch of occult origins in this movie, and the guy who made it, and he did some stuff, and he, changed some of the stuff up, but boom, all of a sudden John Dee gets a mention in this video, and that's when I perk up. It's like, what the heck is he doing in here? And when Count Orlok is, so look, we get Enochian angelical magic. When we get here, celestial speech, boom. And this is a whole, dude, yeah, when it talks about scholomance, dude, this is a whole other rabbit hole I've explored too. What the heck? It goes back to my Gothic stuff. If you go look at those essays or those videos, it all relates to this, and it's like an Ouroboros, man. It's like for real. But anyway, so we go to Count Orlok's house, if you've seen the old one or the new one, and he's like looking, he gets like the letter or whatever from his like spy dude. Where is it? Yeah, see this like spy dude? Maybe that's not him. He gets a letter when he from his little spy that the main character delivers to him, and in the letter, where is it? Is it here? Oh, sorry, I didn't have this queued up. But Count Orlok, when you get to look over his shoulder, and his writing that he's looking at is in Enochian. It's in John Dee's angelic script or whatever. What the heck? I know they have it in here. Where is it? Anyway, yeah, in the original one, you can see Count Orlok, and he's like, you kind of have like an over the shoulder shot, and he's like, he kind of looks at it or whatever, and then you can kind of see his what he's reading. You can see the Enochian letters, and I double checked it, so I was like, oh, what the heck? And I can't see where it is anymore, but it makes me sad. In the new one, I think in the new movie, he actually speaks an ancient Thracian language, Dacian. which relates to that whole Scholomance and Gitte and Goth thing. We'll save that for another day. But yeah, so once again, we see pop culture reference here of Nosferatu using John Dee here or whatever. Kind of like a fun little shout out. So here's another weirder one that sort of came about. So we got Shakespeare and we got John Dee and Shakespeare. We got him in like vampire occult stuff. We got him in crazy technology, schizoid conspiracy stuff. All right. And here's like another weirder one. And I don't really understand this one as much. So there was a Pentagon whistleblower dude named like Matthew Brown or something, and warns of humanity of something in sentient AI and UFOs. And he posted this like image on Twitter. Where is it? Here it is. So he added like Elon Musk, and I have a video on Elon Musk too. But here we go. He's just talking about, hey, Elon, interested in a real asymmetric advantage to wield in this political adventure you have started. As you know, the White House has long possessed a unique AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. Talk about some stiff opposition. Blah, 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 blah. I don't really want to read all this, but so he's just adding big people and talking about some weird stuff. And but over here, you look to the left. I'm sorry for smacking my left, y'all. You see some, weird Enochian script and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, is it? Yeah, you can kind of see the letters here. And so I saw that someone had decoded it. This guy and some other guy, and maybe more people did. Fratter, this would be your chance to chime in on if you've heard this stuff. But yeah, this guy like decoded it, and he said that it means Abrimon. Was that the name of it? Wait. Where's So yeah, I have this blog here. I'll post the blog because they just kind of summarized the 40-minute video that I want to watch. But if we scroll down here, yeah, he was talking about Aborimon. There we go. Aborimon, Fratter. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. Aborimon. Let me know if you have. And it's a sort of it's like some kind of entity or something about controlling people and being big and scary in that not a fun way type of thing. And I feel like it was about controlling people through division and that sort of stuff too. And it's like okay. Okay, well, once again, this is like from someone's post here. According to Lifting the Lamp, this video that I have here, this one that I was talking about, this guy here, this is just his YouTube channel. It's an angelic name buried within the outer ring of the Sigillum de Ameth, a magical disc John Dee used to communicate with higher intelligences. Lifting the Lamp notes that this name was lost for centuries and was rediscovered only by two people, one being Lifting the Lamp, one being Lifting the Lamp. Aborimon then is the spirit of chaos hitherto kept under divine control to be unleashed at the times to usher in the apocalypse. Apocalypsis. Hey, that's the name of our channel. All right. We got a professional. We got a legit. And someone in the chat here. Let's see. Z. Oh, what's up, Chance? I'm the other guy on this channel. Yeah, not only one on the stream, but yes, we're into both Blake and Milton. Yeah, Chance is he's much more educated on his English literature. Z, not sure if you talked yet about this, but thoughts on John Dee being an influence of Prospero and the Tempest. Yes, thank you for reminding me, because here I got the picture pulled up right here. Yeah, just yes, that's a common thing as well. That Prospero is a stand-in perhaps for John Dee, because what is John Dee known for? Summoning angels. What are a bunch of angel names? Danielle, Michael, all that sort of stuff. That anything that ends with L. And Prospero is essentially bossing around a spirit, but its name is Ariel, right? And so people will say that this is perhaps and he's a wizard figure, and people like Francis Yates once again will say that because John Dee was supposed to be using white magic, right? That if you're a good Christian, that, you know, if you did all the good Christian-y stuff, you could have access to, you know, white magic or something along those lines, right? And so, and she should, that's kind of like what well, yeah, she said that's what kind of, yeah, John Dee was doing, but then that's also the kind of white magic that Prospero was doing too, right? That he was a sort of white magician in a sense. That's at least her argument, or sort of take on some of this stuff. I'll put it up later. Okay. But yeah, great. Thank you so much for reminding me, because I would have maybe reminded him, because it was lost amongst my billion tabs there. But yeah, there's one of the pictures of oops, yeah, Prospero and Ariel there. Prospero, Ariel, his daughter, I guess. There was a crazy picture I found of Ariel, and it's like of a, it's when she's like a bat, but then someone traced it to like this other inspiration for a bat picture, and then that went to Batman, and that was pretty interesting. All right, Frater. Yeah, we just did a big pod with Eleftheria on Abramon, which is what whistleblower Matt Bond posted famously on X. Yeah, Lipton Lamp just potted it twice with me on this topic. Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, we should, whenever you get a chance, yeah, I would love to do a topic with you on that alone and see it connect it if any way to Dee and Shakespeare in a sense, right? So yeah, focus and see like, oh, weird Shakespeare, you know, tie-in or something like that. That would have to tread over the same material or something. That would be, or whatever. Man, if we, need some more Philip Sidney scholars out there digging it, scrounging up some more stuff so we can figure out what kind of stuff they were cooking up there. So yeah, we got this weird Aboramon guardian angel thing or whatever that's associated with. Go check out Frater RC's channel over here down in the chat and go get caught up to speed on this Aboramon thing. And I'll get in contact with him and maybe we can figure out if there's a weird Shakespeare tie-in or something along those lines. But yeah, so yeah, we got John Dee and, we got John Dee in like a weird, in the Shakespeare scene. And, once again, why? Maybe not just because of the weird number game stuff and the sonnet stuff, but once again, and that's the sort of cryptography angle. But yeah, just the idea of like playing with language, because I think he actually did do some poetry too. John Michael Greer in the first interview rambled some of it off, and it's like, it sounds pretty cool and like kind of John Milton-y, epic-y, if anything, from what I remember. But too. Which isn't actually a knock on it, so I don't know why I've discounted it. But anyway, moving to the other side. We got him in this like weird alien guardian angel thing and this whole sort of stuff involved with this like UFO whistleblower thing. I don't keep up with that at all. I have no idea what's going on with any of that stuff. I don't really trust the government, so I don't really know what to make of it. And then we got what was the other one? More occult stuff. There's other one weird thing I'll kind of show you. I'll show you a weird rabbit hole that I fell down, and John Dee did come up, and it'll come back up with the occult stuff that we're kind of touching on here too. All right. Yeah. Do a big pod. AnakiaCon 2026 just announced in Austin, Texas. Well, I guess we don't have I guess we're obligated to go, aren't we, Chance? Because we're just hop skipping away in the Houston area. So let's go to Austin. Man, if I could get I would love to do we'd like to do a podcast with Essential Salts too. That'd be fun. But yeah, doing a big round table. Yeah, tying into the literary scene, because otherwise I'm not sure what I would really know. I can only delve so deep. Not that I can't. I only have. So let me. Here's one other weird rabbit hole I fell down, and I can still tie it from one Shakespeare thing to another. So let me pull this thing up real quick. I'll do it live, and I'll show you this weird. So I found this weird video game. It's a Shakespeare video game, and if you've ever played Myst before, Myst, like the old 90s PC game, it's like a point and click adventure, and you like go around, and it's like a moving picture thing, and you like solve puzzles and all that sort of stuff. And what the heck is the name of this game? So the name of the game is actually, what's the name of the game? I'm getting confused. So first I can talk about this first. There's a movie that I didn't find the movie first. Or maybe I did. I don't know how. I don't remember how. Maybe I did find the movie first because I was looking at Shakespeare stuff. No, I didn't. I found it from something else. Anyway, so there's a movie called Prospero's Books. Oh, it's got Mark Rylance in it. Has anyone in the comments seen this thing? I don't want to blast this for y'all, and I also don't want it to boot me off. Oh, it's on the Shakespeare Network. Yeah, they may like get mad at me or something. I don't know. Just like do that or something. But yeah, it's like a movie, and it looks kind of trippy and crazy. And it's like based on The Tempest, so John Dee connection. Well, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, is this the whole movie? Oh yeah, I don't want to watch the whole movie. What the heck? Oh, there's the trailer. I'm so bad at driving, y'all. Here we go. See? Weird art house movie. I know it's all like kind of slow or whatever. All right, I won't do this to you. But yeah, weird movie based on The Tempest. And it looked really trippy and weird and crazy. I should definitely do a review of this movie. But they have a video game based on this movie. But it's not just like any video game apparently. Where the heck is it? It's a video game that only came out in Japan. It only came out in Japan, and the game is English. Where the heck is it? Crashing out. What is the name of this game? It's called the Book of something. Let me see. What is the name of this game? It's gonna bother me now. Yeah, so it's a Myst-like game, but it's like you're in Prospero's like library or something, and you wander around like in Myst, and you like find all of Prospero's books or whatever, and every time you find one of his books, this like weird like little like movie animation like pops up or whatever, and you just get to watch him like talk about this book, and then like that's it. Is it oh no, which one is it? I'm trying to find where I put the link for this book for this game. Yikes. Where the heck did I do it? Totally thought it was here. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I don't know where I put this link. What is the name of this game? I can't even remember the name of the game. It's like the book of something. Where did I put it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Thank the Lord. Okay, copy link. Boom. So here's the game that I found. This is the first part of the rabbit hole. Oh. So yeah, this what's the name of this game? The book of the Book of Watermarks. And so yeah, it's like a book that contains like all books or something like that, right? And so yeah, this is someone's like review of them playing the game or whatever, and I watched like a little bit of it, and I was like, yeah, because I was like, oh, is there any like weird Shakespeare stuff in here? So once again, it's a Japanese game, only released in Japan, but it's all in English. And here's like some oh, come on. Here's like some weird screenshots of the game, and yeah, you see, you just walk around and click stuff and solve puzzles or whatever. So yeah, and then when you get a book, you get a cutscene of this dude. He's like an actor that was like in everything or something, and it's just him like talking about the book, and then you just go back to playing. And so yeah, that's like the whole game. Once again, a PlayStation 1 game, English only, Also, only released in Japan. I'm like, okay. About Shakespeare, like, of all things, okay? All right, so yeah, weird Shakespeare reference. But then I was looking through the comments of this video, and someone pointed out this other weird point-and-click video game from the 90s. And so, man, if Philip Baltimore was here, I don't know if he's into this kind of conspiracy stuff, but there's another video game from the 90s I found that was called Drowned God, Conspiracy of the Ages. This is another weird freaking game. Like, it's another point-and-click game. And yeah, you point and click and solve puzzles and do all this sort of stuff, and then, but it's like every crazy, you know that game, like y'all know that Illuminati card game or whatever. I could probably pull that up too. You know the Illuminati card game that's got a bunch of like kind of prescient stuff about it. I kind of talk about the Weird Went Pro one because when they were talking about weird all the time, but it's almost like as everything from that game got like. From that card game was like smashed into that game. At that point, it's like if Myst was like mixed with Illuminati card game, or like one game, and like that's what it is. And it was like it's pretty weird. Yeah, the Trump one's now kind of famous now. Here y'all go. Here's like the famous Trump one that people will say. So yeah, this came out like the 80s and the 90s or whatever, and it kind of looks like a famous Trump picture that they got now. But yeah, they got a bunch of like conspiracy themed stuff in every single card from quarantine to the Pentagon getting blown up, epidemic, quarantine, martial law, military industrial complex, Brave New World Order. Oh man, look at that one. That's not cool. What the heck does that look like? Come on, y'all. No, come on, y'all. Bob Marley. Like, but anyway, so yeah, it's almost like, so this video game is like all those conspiracy cards like put into a point and click Myst game, okay? And I watched like this whole freaking video. Why did I do that? Because I don't know, it was like I was wasting time from like 11 to like past midnight. I think I was carrying my daughter around actually when I was trying to finish it, trying to go to sleep. And but yeah, weird video game. You solve puzzles. And oh, boom! And eventually we get to a point where Aleister Crowley is kind of like a major thing, and in it, and at this point I was like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna finish this because like I'm like pretty far into this thing, and yeah, it's just like it's every single weird conspiracy that you've ever known, and it's like you're like the Nephilim are like one faction, and then there's like government, Ahriman is like the other thing. Like I don't know, it's pretty weird. But anyway, so yeah, it gets to this point, and then you, oh look, here's the letter, and then you find this letter by Aleister Crowley, and what does he talk about? He's like, oh yeah, I did my stuff at the Bullskin House or whatever, right on Loch Ness, and then he says that, but he references that he was using the writings of necromancer Dr. John Dee. So yeah, once again, we get a spooky John Dee in this iteration. And yeah, I've talked a lot about John Dee's spooky stuff, and yeah, there's probably some proper biographies that delve more into that scientific, mathematic guy that's a little more, the more practical John Dee, the less spooky version. But once again, yeah, I'm just talking about like, yeah, why is this aura around this person in a sense, Yeah, here we go. We got John Dee in this slight reference here in this random. And there could be other Shakespeare references in this game. Oh, well, here's the other weird reference in this video game, okay? So I'm watching this whole thing. We get our John Dee reference, and I'm like, all right, here we go. There we go, John Dee. You made it into the Shakespeare. I'm sorry, you made it into the 1996 conspiracy game. And all this stuff in this whole game, from Nephilim, which kind of goes back to Enoch. We're kind of circling back. If you remember, we were talking about the Book of Enoch. That kind of goes back to the Nephilim and the Watchers and the mixing of humans and angels and the Gigantes and all this sort of crazy stuff or whatever, right? If it's real or not. But once again, those are like major players in this game. And once again, I just kind of connected to we got a nice Metropolis there. Thank you. We got a reference to John Dee in this video, and then has Nephilim in there too, right? So maybe that's why John Dee has that sort of connection to all this sort of stuff or whatever, right? Once again, like I said, everything in this whole game I was like, oh, that's that conspiracy. Oh, that's that conspiracy. Oh, that's that conspiracy. Oh, that's that conspiracy. Except for one thing. There's only one thing in the whole game that I was like, why is that in there? I was like, I've never heard that in like a conspiracy reference before. And it goes back to at least the Philip Sidney thing. And it's et in Arcadia ego. We're kind of go, maybe this connects to John Dee. I have no idea. But they even have, this has its own phrase. And it's like, it means like I too was in Arcadia. Okay, so yeah, it's got its own entry, right? Et in Arcadia ego, Latin for even Arcadia, there I am. And it's got a bunch of different references too, right? But of course, I'm referencing it, of course, in being to Philip Sidney's Arcadia. And I've just never heard this, I'm pretty well versed, for better or worse, in pretty much like every angle of like conspiracy sort of culture or whatever, right? Where it's, maybe not, I don't know. I have opinions on aliens and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I'm not like super up to speed with it or whatever, but I'm like, oh, I've definitely heard this or that. I'm kind of aware of this or that. And, oh, I know the differing opinions of a lot of different stuff, even though I don't know where to land on any of it. But I've never heard Et in Arcadia ego in like a conspiracy sense. And like Arcadia was like kind of like a weird theme throughout this game. And you just kind of see Arcadia little, all of a sudden here's like a phone, and the phone brand would say like Arcadia or something, So I don't know I didn't know. I've never seen Arcadia quite in that conspiracy sense before. So if anyone else knows about it that I don't, I'd like to know, because I'm not sure what was it doing there. But yeah. All right, let me go. Let me see. I gotta catch up on all these comments over here. Yeah, Z. Yeah, I was talking about. Yeah, I know some Baconians have opinions that Dee and Baconian, Dee and Bacon being similar, or being the same. Sorry. Oh, thanks, Fratter. Super appreciate it. He says Dee was a genius and surely didn't need anyone to write for him. The other Z says, is it the Book of Watermarks? Yes, it is. Sorry, yeah, when I was floundering there. Here we got people. See, people. Yeah, John Dee, is he writing it or not? Right? See, it's people. Yeah, see, it's contentious still. Bacon and Dee. But yeah, I think as far as Chance and I go, I think that there's a lot of Sidney and Dee and Pembroke stuff and all sorts of weirdness sort of going on here, and yeah, connecting it just to how once again I kind of brought up just it's not a conspiracy exactly, but I just sort of said that Taylor Swift is in this, is still cashing in on Shakespeare, and I kind of associate with John Dee in this sort of Shakespeare scene, right? Just because Shakespeare kind of straddles Jacobean Elizabethan times, right? But I don't know. I just kind of see that Dee is sort of like in that vein of in that time period. Is just part of like the energy there, and with the Prospero, John Dee being connected or whatever too, right? Maybe that it's kind of a soft one. It's not deliberate or explicit or anything like that. But once again, those molds, those archetypes, do maybe could be argued there or something, right? Or at least it's like like I said, it's in the zeitgeist. It's in the sort of era of the era, right? Maybe we couldn't have a Prospero without a sort of John Dee and but probably also like a grip on all those sort of dudes or whatever too, right? Mirandola, something like all those kind of guys. Although John Dee, just apparently John Michael Greer said that he had made like a little mechanical like bird insect thing that could wind up and like fly away or something crazy, and so just connecting to John Dee is like he's got a weird presence in our culture, right? Like I said, Shakespeare coming through with Taylor Swift, and I don't know, it's disturbing to me that things that will be coined for the first time in Shakespeare ever that you won't even know, and it just kind of feels like the person's like in your head, right? When you end up using so much of their words all the time and all their phrases all the time. But yeah, we have just this this weird nexus node of John Dee and these vastly different opinions on him, whether he's like a good guy, whether he's like the bad guy. Was it purposeful? Was he malicious, or was it unintentional? Was it And I should one day I'm gonna go look into that actual biography of like the reports of what was going on with Edward Kelly and where that all comes from, because I feel like I remember hearing like I thought it only came from like one source or something, and I don't know. The whole thing is just kind of strange to me, and I'm not saying like it didn't happen or something. I just don't know, but yeah, I want to look into it a little further. But yeah, just kind of connecting Dee to this whole weird Shakespeare scene in a sense, right? And I remember I was kind of talking about intelligentsia and not just like literature or whatever, right? But yeah, intelligentsia, and especially Philip Sidney is also supposed to be Welsh. Dee is supposed to be Welsh. I have one other person that I talk about, or that I used to talk about very much in the very, very, very beginning of the channel. My early videos, they're not very good, because it's kind of just me talking and rambling, much like this. But I didn't have I'm not surfing the web, but in my first videos on Alan Dulles, but he's a famous CIA director, but his middle name is actually Alan Welsh Dulles, right? So there you go, CIA Wales D connection, maybe, I don't know. But I think that's all that I had pulled up, I want to say, on this sort of stuff, right? I'm just trying to connect to John Dee to a bunch of different conspiracy elements, essentially, right? And yeah, just show how versatile he is, and essentially, right? And yeah, Freder's totally right about. Oh yeah, I wonder what he would think about it. What would he think about this image that is now carried of him, right? Aside from if that was yeah, it does seem like, I don't know. Was that the point of it? How early on did he cement that sort of sorcerer vibe on himself or whatever, and how long did it take kind of to develop that, or just to cement it later on? But yeah, that kind of goes into his general biography and exploration of that sort of angle, right? Which is sort of outside the bounds that I keep repeating. But if anyone's got any questions here, I'll wrap up the questions and any comments here before we log out of here tonight. I super appreciate you for all hopping in here. Bacon, his twin brother, did the D act, or you think it was Raleigh? Et in Arcadia Ego was a clue. It is connected to the Ramsey Lacho, Nicholas Poussin, and possibly Oak Island. Another dude that I'd really like to talk to is Court Lindahl, because he's got some Newport Tower stuff. He's got some Rimless Chateau stuff. He's got and he kind of also connected to I think definitely some Bacon and Dee, and but I'm super interested in Sydney, which is also what he's got on his plate as well. So yeah, just cross connecting references and sharing notes between y'all all out there is definitely helping me not helping me remember video game names like I needed to, but yeah, we'll get better as we do this. But Dee was the first to use the expression the British Empire. Yeah, he's usually coined with that, and on our 4-hour long stream, at the beginning of this one I was talking about Humphrey Lude. He's another Welsh guy, and he sort of says like the Britain or Empire of Britain, like a couple of years before Dee, but they're both friends actually. But yeah, if y'all want to know about the weird UFO stuff, yeah, go check out Frater RC's channel. It looked like he talked to Lamplight about that. It looks like I need to go educate myself, and so maybe I can be able to know what to if there's any Shakespeare things that stand out there or whatever, right? And yeah, maybe we can we'll circle back on that, and then probably Dee just seems to be the well that just keeps on to be able to draw from, and I don't know what it is about it, or maybe that's exactly what it is all about actually. This whole magic scene sort of worked to how he wanted. I don't know. I think it's interesting. Once again, yeah, people got so many different opinions on him, and he definitely seemed, no matter what, yeah, definitely impactful, regardless of what your take is on him. So, but otherwise, I think we're gonna wrap it up here in just a minute. I super appreciate all the super chats I received tonight. Thank y'all so much. I'm glad that y'all were riding with me here tonight, and we'll probably I've been trying to come back here every single Wednesday. Got to bring in like a weird topic, WYRD weird topic maybe. And Shakespeare tangent is usually my sort of semi goal, right? Because I just sort of find that it seems to be ever endlessly connected to so many things, right? But it's probably just how the culture works, I suppose. It's not that, I could be overthinking it, but that's what we do for fun here. And check out the links down below for the essays that Chance and I are writing, any sneak peeks that I have before I turn them into videos. And if you want to join the book club, where we are, it's only $9 a month. You get lifetime Discord access, and like I said, we're going through a play a month, maybe at this point. Where, like I said, about a week, an act or two about a week, or for every week. And we have a pretty good in-depth discussion, and pretty elucidating one. So yeah, check that out. I also record the book club, so there's just like hours and hours of footage of that stuff on Patreon. I need to get that stuff on here for all my YouTube members. If y'all want to just hear some of the book club audio that we're just gonna ramble on, and you might, it's just lots of information. And so if that's what you're interested in, I definitely need to get that on here for y'all. But if there is nothing else I'm gonna hear from y'all tonight, this will probably be me signing off for the evening. I super appreciate y'all once again for joining the stream tonight. And, just as always, nullius in verba,